I believe the year is half over. The coronavirus taking so much from so many, but the first of the month is tomorrow. That means your rent or your mortgage will be due. Will you be able to pay it? If not, you are still protected by the CARES Act until the end of July. But for many people, that may not be enough time to get caught up, and you may be wondering, what do I do? What are my options? Kadeem Morris, an attorney with Community Legal Services of Philadelphia, joins us this morning to tell you what you need to know. Kadeem, good morning to you.
Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I know you're working with some struggling families, and in turn, you're also hearing from landlords. What are you hearing actually from them?
So in terms of what we are hearing from families, there's a lot of delay that's coming in with people who may have applied for unemployment, either directly just through the state system or the federal system, and they are trying their best to make ends meet until those funds come through. And landlords are being generally receptive to that. I mean, we always encourage people to reach out to your landlord and have a direct line of communication so that they are aware of what is going on in your situation.
Now, in some cases, I've read about this. Have you heard or know any stories of landlords sort of using intimidation tactics, threatening people, talking about heading to eviction courts when courts open back up?
So believe it or not, we hear that every day, but it's especially heightened now that the courts are closed. As I think some people are aware, the CARES Act does put very specific protections in place for landlords and tenants who are federally funded or live in a federally subsidized property. And then there's another segment of private market renters who are not protected by the CARES Act, whose landlords still have to wait until the governor's stay of evictions basically ends on July 10th before they can go into court. And during that time period, some tenants are being threatened with evictions, forced with rent, threatened with rent hikes and all sorts of tactics to basically get them out of the property. And it's an understandable struggle because people have been out of work for a very long period of time, but there is funding being mobilized at the state level. So to the best extent that people can work together, I think it will be a great outcome for everyone.
Yeah, we have to work together on this because you can understand both sides with landlords having to pay their mortgages and needing the money from the renters. What advice do you have to renters who will not be able to make that payment tomorrow?
So the advice that we have is basically always the same. It's reach out to your landlord proactively, let them know it's the first of the month, I may not be able to pay my rent. If you can make a smaller payment, make that smaller payment. If you have a deposit on file that you can ask your landlord to credit against hopefully a missed month, if it's only 1 month, then you should have that conversation. But I think if you're not communicating with your landlord proactively, then there's little incentive on their end to work with you. And you have to have open communication. And of course, if you come to an agreement, get that agreement in writing so both parties are on the same page as to what is that you've agreed to.
Sometimes those talks get tough and they break down. Kadeem, I know Philly's offering some sort of virtual mediations. How do people get involved in that?
So for Philadelphia has a lot of programs, including virtual mediation, which is available through calling into the hotline at 215-843-5413. But in addition to that, there's also the Philadelphia Eviction Prevention Project, which is doing a lot of hotline work in advance that people get into court. And it's also does same-day legal representation when the system does open, hopefully sometime in July. So if you are struggling in any way, shape, or form, you can go to phillytenant.org and get connected to resources. You can also call the hotline directly to get to the Philadelphia Eviction Prevention Project by calling 215-443-2500.
All right, we'll put all of that information on our website. Of course, it's going to be super helpful for some people come tomorrow morning. Kadeem, thank you for your time.
Happy to be here.
All right, be safe out there. We'll take a very quick break and we'll be right back.